From the very beginning, we are immersed in a situation whose secrets are hidden in the buzzing of wings. The first encounter with killer bees was truly unexpected and left an indelible mark. People who experienced these firsthand felt horror and helplessness in an instant when faced with these miniature threats. One such incident was an attack in a small Texas town. No one could have imagined that a quiet morning could turn into utter panic. These insects inspired fear and caused confusion, revealing their ruthless nature. But this is only the tip of the iceberg. Where did they come from, these tiny, merciless killers that terrify people and animals across several continents? So, where did this frightening story of killer bees begin? In fact, their roots go back to distant Africa. It was there that aggressive subspecies were once discovered, attracting the attention of scientists. In the 1950s, wild African bees were brought to Brazil. This was an attempt by scientists to breed a more productive type of honeybee. However, the experiment got out of control and nature made its own unexpected adjustments. The African bees interbred with local species, giving rise to a new deadly generation now known as killer bees. The insects began to migrate rapidly, driven by an almost obsessive goal to spread across the entire continent. After traveling thousands of miles, they reached the southern United States, leaving a trail of fear and chaos in their wake. Their journey seemed endless. Deserts, forests, cities, nothing could stop them. As their numbers grew, more and more people began to wonder, what makes them so terrifying and what is their true nature? The secrets of their instincts are waiting to be uncovered. When it comes to killer bees, their instincts are at the forefront. These insects display noticeably more aggressive behavior compared to their European counterparts. If even one of their nests is disturbed, an entire army of bees is ready to rush to its defense. They react with lightning speed and are willing to pursue a threat for up to a quarter of a mile, which makes them especially dangerous to humans. Their secret lies in the fact that they respond not only to real, but also to potential danger. These winged defenders are capable of attacking in teams of hundreds or even thousands, which often leaves their victim with virtually no chance of escape. Such coordinated aggression raises questions about what might happen if measures are not taken to control these warriors of nature. By closely studying their behavior, one can see just how complex their biology and intuition are. Why do these seemingly small creatures dare to launch such a fearsome attack? It is worth taking a deeper look at the attack methods and defense mechanisms they employ. Examining these aspects reveals an entire chain of events where each bee knows its role at the epicenter of the battle. But don't be fooled by the illusion of protection, because their arsenal contains more than just venom. It's time to uncover the details of the battle and find out how humans end up at the center of these bloodthirsty attacks. You shouldn't underestimate the small size of these creatures, as they can pose a great danger. When attacking, killer bees employ a strategy of mobile coordination. Each bee acts as part of an unstoppable assault. As soon as one returns to the hive, the next one takes its place. The goal is to exhaust the victim and force them to leave the territory. The acupuncture-like approach of their attack involves repeatedly injecting venom, which not only causes unbearable pain, but can also lead to severe allergic reactions and anaphylactic shock. Right now, you might be wondering, what should I do if I become the target of their attack? The answer requires careful consideration. But before we dive into the specific actions that can help you protect yourself, take a careful look around. Places that seem safe may actually harbor danger. Now that we understand how deliberately they attack, it makes sense to examine cases of people who have directly experienced the full horror of bee aggression. The stories of victims always reveal what you really need to be prepared for. Every encounter with killer bees is a story of survival. One such case occurred in Arizona when a local farmer named Sean went out to inspect his land. He had no idea that he would become the target of a swarm of these aggressive insects. Such attacks often begin suddenly and without warning. One sting, then another, and suddenly an entire cloud of bees descends upon the victim. Sean started to run, but the killer bees chased him across the fields, not stopping for hundreds of yards. Another striking example of such an attack was the story of a group of tourists in New Mexico. During a peaceful walk, one of the participants accidentally disturbed an unseen nest, and within seconds, the stroll turned into a terrifying struggle for survival. The bees attacked them as they ran, and the stings they inflicted caused intense pain and panic. Although fortunately none of them died, this incident left a strong emotional impact on everyone. However, not all stories end well, and some victims unfortunately lose their lives in this struggle with nature. Such tragic events show that even an invisible enemy can become fatal. How to prevent such horrors and what lessons can be learned from the past? We will discuss this by turning to the opinions of experts and scientists who continue to study this dangerous phenomenon. To escape from bees, you should try not to panic and avoid making sudden movements, as this can provoke them to sting. If a bee latches onto you, you should leave the site of the attack as quickly as possible, covering your head and face. After being stung, it is best to take shelter indoors, in a vehicle, or as a last resort, dive into water. Understanding the danger posed by killer bees is impossible without turning to scientific facts. Why are African bees so aggressive? Their evolution took place under the pressure of dangerous neighbors. Agile honey badgers would raid hives, ignoring the stings. Birds caught bees in midair. Monkeys search for sweet spoils. And humans since ancient times have been constant thieves of their hives. Only those swarms survived that developed an ultra-fast reaction and the ability to overwhelm the enemy with thousands of stings. This is collective fury, their evolutionary shield, against a world of predators and humans. Scientists continue their experiments, striving to create safer ways to interact with these bees and developing deeper strategies to minimize their threat. Careful observations and laboratory studies offer hope that we may be getting closer to solving this problem. However, many mysteries still lie ahead. The world of science has yet to uncover all the secrets of these creatures. Now, let's move on to what happens to the environment under their influence. Can they cause damage that goes beyond human life? Scientific research shows that killer bees are capable of making significant changes to the ecosystems in which they live. Their aggressive behavior disrupts established food chains, putting intense pressure on other species of bees and pollinators. This can lead to a decrease in biodiversity as peaceful species are displaced or destroyed. Killer bees, possessing a strong instinct for self-defense, often take dominant positions in local ecosystems. This can lead to a shortage of pollinators for trees and flowers, which in turn affects crop yields and the natural renewal of plant communities. Flora that loses its natural pollinators may begin to die out, which has a further devastating impact on the local fauna that depend on these plants. In addition, their presence in areas traditionally inhabited by other bee species can affect honey production and tie the hands of local beekeepers who face the threat of attacks. This fosters increased tension in rural communities and creates the need to reconsider agricultural management methods. While scientists search for solutions to minimize the negative effects of the killer bee invasion, it seems that nature itself is finding ways to adapt. But are we ready for the challenges they may still bring? The task ahead is to keep their numbers and impact under control. But how can this actually be done in practice? Let's explore strategies to combat these threats. Dealing with the threat posed by killer bees requires significant effort. In many regions around the world, strategies have been developed to control and eliminate these aggressive insects. The key focus is on integrated pest management, with primary attention given to monitoring and early detection. Traps and specialized chemical agents are used to help reduce the bee population. In some cases, teams of professionals carry out targeted operations to eliminate particularly dangerous nests. For example, in the southern United States, farmers and beekeepers join forces to fight the invaders together. Community initiatives also play a key role in combating killer bees. Residents and property owners are regularly reminded to be cautious and ensure safety, to detect and remove nests, and to notify local authorities. Government programs support research aimed at improving control methods and protecting natural pollinators. However, the fight against killer bees is not just a technical challenge, it is also a complex combination of science, practice, and public intervention. The role of innovative technologies, which can offer unexpected solutions to reduce the threat, cannot be overlooked. In the world of technology and innovation, it is impossible not to notice how modern methods instantly adapt to the latest challenges. Individual enthusiasts in the USA, UK, and Japan are focusing on creating miniature bee agents that, using neural network models, will be able to control the behavior of a bee swarm. However, these developments are still at the prototype stage. The most accessible methods of control remain insecticides, which replaced DDT that was used in the 1960s. Another promising direction has been the use of genetics. Scientists are working on projects aimed at creating bees that are less prone to aggression. This is a complex task that requires time and patience, but it promises significant advantages in combating this threat. In large areas, such as nature parks, clusters of killer bees are located using drones equipped with thermal imaging cameras. The insects are driven away with smoke and their nest is destroyed. These measures make it possible to control the population of dangerous bees. An important question remains: will we be able to cope with this biological threat, or do they have future moves that could surprise everyone again? We stand at a crossroads, where the fate of killer bees and our interaction with them is taking a new turn. The question of the future of these insects remains open. Will their threat intensify, or will humanity find a way to rein them in? Everything depends on how we handle the current challenges. Killer bees have been and remain a symbol of nature's power, and only through the combined efforts of science, technology, and human caution can we attempt to control their spread and minimize the danger. Modern control methods, which have already been discussed, show promising results, but they require constant improvement and implementation in practice. From genetic research to technological solutions, every step brings us closer to the possibility of living in harmony with these insects without a constant sense of threat. Nevertheless, it is important not to forget about maintaining balance in ecosystems and supporting the natural diversity that forms the foundation of our existence. Killer bees serve as a reminder of how easily natural bonds can be disrupted, but they also symbolize the spirit of survival that prevails in the living world. The future is determined by our attitude toward these issues and our pursuit of harmony. Will we accept the challenge posed by the animal world, which demands our respect and caution? That is for each of us to decide. So the future of killer bees is not only about their nature, but also our shared responsibility. We must look to the future with an open mind and a willingness to adapt. Without a doubt, there will be new discoveries and astonishing twists ahead that will change our understanding. Scientists, after analyzing data on 200 species of fossilized and extinct bees, concluded that the first bees appeared on Earth during the early Cretaceous period, about 124 million years ago. This means that bees existed at the same time as dinosaurs and outlived them. The most important factor remains our attitude and determination to do everything possible for safe coexistence with these powerful creatures of nature. Therefore, we should not condemn their survival strategy. Let us try to treat them with respect, and they will most likely respond in kind.